I hope you're having a great day and I hope you're staying safe at home. Well, before we start today's topic, the truth about carbohydrates, okay? So carbs has become like a very negative word. It's literally become like a bad word, like an evil word. In society, when someone mentions like, oh, I'm eating carbs, people are actually looked down upon for even using the word carbohydrates or that they're eating carbohydrates. Well, as you can see, the society we live in is primarily shallow, and that's why we've taken to extreme measures in order to lose weight, in order to gain health and all of that stuff. So I'm not here to tell you today that you should stop your ketogenic diet. I'm not here to tell you that you should stop your low carb diet. I'm not here to advise you on anything. I'm going to ask you for the next couple of minutes to sit back, open up your mind and just think. Just reflect and think, and then you make your decision. Number one, every individual is unique. Remember that. As we speak, there are people who are carb efficient, which means they handle carbohydrates really, really well. And if they cut out carbohydrates, they have a lot of issues from muscle development, low energy levels, irritation, frustration, inability to think clearly. There are these people who need carbohydrates. There are athletes, there are normal people, there are laymen who need carbohydrates because their genetic makeup is carb efficient. There are some people who do better with more protein and high fat diets. There are some people who do well with high fats and high carbs and high protein, and they still have great health and great bodies. Everyone is different. Now, point number two to reflect on. If carbohydrates was really the culprit for obesity, diabetes, and everything else, then everyone should be having those problems because almost everyone has grown up eating carbohydrates. But only a certain population of people develop metabolic syndromes, diabetes, obesity, and all of those things. There are civilizations today, till date, that are carb heavy, and they have no cardiovascular disease or very little cardiovascular disease, very low obesity levels, and everything else. So can we still blame carbohydrates? Third, look at any pro athlete, look at any elite athlete. They will have carb heavy diets. And now you'll say, oh Luke, but they're active. Yes, remember that word. They are active. That doesn't make carbohydrates bad. Because for high performance, athletically, mentally, a lot of people use carbohydrates efficiently. And they balance it out with their workouts, their activity, and everything else. Okay, so let's take a simple example of villagers in India, farmers in India. Their diets are primarily carbohydrates. We have the least amount of people with diabetes and cardiovascular problems from villages and from farmers. They may have other issues. They may have malnutrition because they don't have money to buy certain, balances of foods and nutrition. But you look around at farmers, people who work in fields, their diets are primarily carb heavy. And yet most of them will have better bodies than you and me. The men are ripped, they have six packs. The women don't have an ounce of fat on their bodies. Carb heavy diets. So why do we keep complaining about carbohydrates all the time? Yes, there are good carbohydrates and there are bad carbohydrates. Let me give you an example of some of the people who come and say, hey Luke, put me on a low carb diet. I say, fine, I'll give you whatever diet you want. But number one, tell me about your exercise. Tell me about your sleep. Tell me about your emotional wellness. Either they're sedentary, they don't care about their sleep and they're not willing to change it, or they're not bothered about emotional stress. They say everyone's stressed, so it's part of life. Your low carb diet is not going to get you any of your benefits unless you correct your sedentary lifestyle, you start to work on your sleep, and you start to learn how to manage your stress more effectively. Your low carb diet is not a band-aid approach. It is not a fix for every issue. Obviously, when you go low carb, you will lose 1 kilo, 2 kilos, 3 kilos, 4 kilos rapidly. Then you'll stagnate. Then, because you don't have the discipline and consistency to maintain it, you'll have weekends which you term as cheat weekends, and you'll eat all the carbs in the world, and on Monday morning your scale goes up again, and now you look for different diets because your low carb diet couldn't fix you anyway. But like I said, I'm not here to change your mind and get you off all of these things. There are some people who need low carb diets. People who already have insulin resistance, people who cannot handle high glycemic index foods, people who have metabolic syndromes. Yes, these people will do better with low carb diets. So when you look at all the stories on the internet, like I always said, every story that you see, you don't have to take it at face value. You don't know the person's lifestyle before. That person could have been drinking sugary drinks all the time, eating sugar all the time, high carb diet, and now they just reduce their carbs and they start to lose weight. That's the simple science of the body, but it doesn't mean a low carb or a no carb diet has to be the right diet for you. You will know if it's the right diet for you. You will lose weight and you will feel happy. You will not feel psychologically deprived. Your skin won't start sagging. You won't lose the glow from your skin if you're doing it the right way. So let's break it down into carbohydrates. Go back to civilizations. Today a lot of books have been written that, oh, when carbohydrates entered our planet, all the problems happened. That's not true. Civilizations ate carbohydrates way before, but lifestyle disease only came in over the last few years when people changed their lifestyles. If carbohydrates was really the culprit, okay, people from the time they consume carbohydrates would have the same amount of lifestyle diseases as we have today. But we all know lifestyle diseases is something new. It's happened over the last 15 to 20 to 25 years. Before that, people lived way healthier lives and did not suffer from the amount of obesity that we have. So what's the changing point? Carbohydrates or lifestyle? The answer is lifestyle. As I speak, there are people, and probably your own parents, who have not given up carbohydrates. They eat good quality carbohydrates every day, every meal, and some of them are healthier than you. They're happier than you. They have better bodies than you. Of course, your parents may not be as muscular from you, or they don't have a size 0. They don't care about that. It's not important for them. They don't need that to make them happy, but they're healthy. They don't have diabetes. They don't have cardiovascular problems. They don't have cancers. They're eating carbs every day, and they are healthier and happier than most people out there. So what is the changing point? It is your lifestyle. Farmers, villagers, they have very active lifestyles. If you like carbohydrates and you are carb efficient, but you're sedentary, of course you're going to put on weight. But what is the problem? Is it the carb or is it you? Is it your sedentary lifestyle? So we can't blame carbs because our lifestyles are wrong. There are good carbs and bad carbs. Of course, we got to stay far from bad carbs, but when we include good carbohydrates, like I always say, look at the human body, okay? We have an enzyme that we generate in our saliva and our pancreas and in our digestive system to specifically break down carbohydrates. If it was not important to the human body or if it was not required, then why would the human body even have an enzyme to break down carbohydrates? That's because carbohydrates is present in everything. Your nuts, your seeds, your fruits, everything, your whole grains. We have carbohydrates in everything. The quantity and the quality is different, and that's what we need to understand. I can't tell you how many people out there are messing up their hormonal balance, their skin, their psychology, their bodies, everything by going on a low carb diet which doesn't suit them. But they punish themselves and they keep going on that. A lot of professionals also think the easy way out is put them on a low carb diet. They don't understand that a lot of people who are carb efficient, if they drop their carbohydrates, they're going to have hormone related issues. They're going to have huge problems with hormonal balance. And weight loss is not about diet and exercise alone. It's about your hormones. If you have a good hormonal balance, you have great health when it comes to managing your weight. But you can go on punishing your body with fat diets and exercise, and you will never be happy, and you will never achieve the goal that you're trying to long term. Short term, yes, 100% for sure. So there are good carbs and there are bad carbs. What are our bad carbs? All your sugary drinks, your aerated drinks, your cakes, your pastries, your white sugars, your processed drinks. All of these things are bad carbs. You want to stop it or you want to limit it, really, really limit it. Now there are so many people who have these bad carbs in moderation, but they're highly active. They sleep well. They're in control of their emotional life. Once in a way they'll enjoy an aerated drink. They're absolutely fine. Everything is balanced according to your life, not according to what social media is telling you, according to your lifestyle. Some of the fittest people I know, the fittest people in mind and in body, because we don't just care about fit bodies and then you're emotionally depressed and you're going through depression and all of that stuff. Good health is physical fitness and mental and emotional fitness together. Otherwise, you're not fit. You're not fit if you have a six-pack and you're depressed. You're not fit if you have a size 0 figure, but you're psychologically deprived and emotionally down all the time. You are not fit. You are not fit. You just have a great, good to look at body. Period. Nothing beyond that. Absolutely nothing beyond that. Some of the fittest people I know, they eat everything. They work out well, they're consistent, they're disciplined, they sleep well. They have a few weekends here and there, but they do everything. And look at most of us. We're so health obsessed, low carb diet, counting everything that we do, and yet we don't even achieve our results. We get short-term results. Why? Because we're chasing it the wrong way. We think by fooling around with macronutrients and all the time is going to get us every single thing. Let me put it this way. If low carb was the answer to weight loss, everyone would be doing it. And everyone would be achieving their results. It would become a way of life. But it's a struggle for most people because it may not be right for you. Like I said, it may be right for a lot of people. Some people are protein and fat efficient. Some people are carb efficient. You got to figure out what your unique self is when it comes to this and do it. What are some of the good carbohydrates? Your vegetables, your fruits, your grains, whole grains, your refined grains are the worst thing that you can do. They come under processed foods because they're stripped of all the goodness, all the vitamins and all the minerals. You can have whole grains, but if it's processed and refined, that makes it a bad carbohydrate. The other bad carbohydrates are your aerated drinks, your sugars, your junk food, your processed food. Read very clearly because a lot of health products, go to the label and read. They will write whole wheat and below somewhere down will be refined whole wheat. So they try to trick you into making you believe it's healthy. But if it's not whole grain, it is junk food, period. Drop it. Okay? You have your sugars, you have your starches, you have your fibers. These make up carbohydrates. Now your dietary fibers really, they feed your gut bacteria. They also help you push out a lot of toxins from your body, lower your cholesterol. They don't really have an impact on your weight or your energy. Then you have your starches and you have your dietary carbohydrates that break down into energy. If you're eating it in the right quantity and the right quality and you have the right amount of physical activity, carbohydrates will not cause a problem to your body. Now, if you're diabetic, and this is the hypocrisy of most diabetics, they start blaming carbohydrates. Like carbohydrates caused their diabetes. If carbohydrates cause diabetes, then everyone eating carbohydrates should have diabetes, but everyone doesn't. It's because of their poor lifestyle. They either overate it, the wrong quality, too much, wrong time, too much of sugar, no activity, too much of stress, no sleep, and they got diabetes. Does that make carbohydrates the culprit? Absolutely not. Your poor lifestyle. So for people who are insulin resistant, people who are diabetic, yes, they got to go easy on their carbohydrates. Do they need to stop carbohydrates? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Now, some people may stop carbohydrates. They may go ketogenic and get brilliant results. Like I said, if it suits you, do it. But everyone trying to, do the same thing without understanding how their body works, not understanding how they feel, that is why they don't get results. And like I said, if this worked, if low carb or cutting out carbohydrates worked, then fat loss and weight loss would not be the most Googled word. You have a solution, but obviously the solution isn't working because it's wrong. It's incorrect. It may suit some people, it may not suit some people. So when we look at our good carbohydrates, we have vegetables, fruits, your legumes, your kidney beans, your chanas, your split peas, all of that stuff. You have nuts, you have seeds, you have whole grains, and you have your tubers. I know diabetics who are eating all of this in balance, and within 2 to 3 months, their doctors are pulling them off medication. We do not need extremes. Certain people need extremes. Everyone else needs discipline and consistency. You have to understand that. It is so important for you. But today, we label foods as bad foods. No, the food isn't bad. You've just overeaten it. You've eaten it at the wrong time. You've eaten it with greed all the time. Too much of it. It doesn't make that particular food bad. It makes your lifestyle and you bad, not the particular food. So again, remind yourself, how many people out there enjoy whole grains, well-balanced meals, have better bodies than you, cleaner blood reports than you ever have? Okay, what are they doing differently? They have activity in place, they're eating simple, balanced food, okay? They're not running after superfoods and super grains and all of that stuff. You can do that if you want, but get your basics right first. They don't take as much of stress as you do. Okay, they have their life in balance, and that's why their bodies work and give them back in balance. Stop living in extremes. Sometimes you may find your space, vegan, keto, all of that. Do it. But you're getting fanatic when you start fighting about it and you start proving to the world that my way is the right way. A lot of people get into extremes because also it is an attention-seeking mechanism. They want to feel part of, involved in a group because they get a sense of appreciation and a sense of attention. Understand this. There is a root cause for everything. If you know carbs don't suit you, just do it quietly and enjoy your life. You know, when you get onto social media today, there are groups that are only pushing keto and all. No, it doesn't work. Like I said, if keto alone worked, we wouldn't be having world problems and health problems. But it's a balance. Everyone is unique. You got to find out what suits you. I can't tell you how many women are hitting early menopause today because they're ruining their diets by going on to fads, cutting out carbs completely, and yet their bodies aren't changing. They're losing 2-3 kilos here and there, fitting into a dress, and they're happy at 1 or 2 parties. But they're not changing. They're getting sicker and sicker. And men as well. A lot of men doing the same thing. Fad diets, but big belly button, big bellies, low testosterone levels, no sex drives anymore, balding at an early age. These are all hormonal imbalances caused because you have not given your body what it needs. So please understand, carbohydrates, there's nothing wrong with them. What is wrong is the way that you choose to incorporate them in your diet. If you're loading up on bad carbs, that's bad for you. You're having good carbs, you are not going to have problems. Like I said, if you are carb efficient, look at football players, look at most of these high performance athletes. You tell them to get off carbs, they'll laugh on your face. It is carbohydrates that breaks down into energy for them. Instant energy. But they train hard, they recover hard, they sleep hard, and they eat to suit the kind of sport that they're into. So does this make a carbohydrate bad for you right now? No. If your mindset is all warped and someone's infused you that carb is a poison, change your mindset. And like I said, reflect on those points. If it was a poison, everyone eating carbs should have a problem. But when you look at the healthiest people, the happiest people, and some of them with the greatest bodies, they eat everything. They don't go onto stupid diets. They eat in balance. They know how much to work out. They sleep. They respect their bodies, and their bodies pay back to them. Have a great day, everyone. Until next time, eat smart, move more, sleep right, and breathe deep.